It's like a year's past.
Good day, Internet.
Hi,
Hello,
Internet.
Oh,
Roger.
I am so with you on that one.
Roger and Joe, I put a link to a 2016 story from LAist of somebody who put his whole editing rig in a Starbucks
I remember
on like
this story.
Western Avenue. I know there were stories of people doing this in New York back in the day too. So
Western Avenue, that's just a couple
Even
blocks from
brought
me.
us-
Well,
I
it depends
know.
on
Hop-
where on Western. It's a very
hop,
long
skip,
street.
and a jump.
Yeah, I should walk in there and just be like, "Hey, can we like collab?" Like you're doing,
well,
you're doing
you'd have to time travel, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of in my area of Western Avenue. For anybody who's unfamiliar with LA, runs north and south. It's a long street, and I'm sort of on the in the middle.
Cool. You're in the
of
cool
everything.
part. Let's be honest. Yeah.
It's cool. It can be
It is now that you live there.
yes. Well, yeah, obviously. It can be a little gritty here and there, but but it's great. Yeah, it's like, it's like you're on the edge of Koreatown. You got El Cholo, the original, by the way, which is fun as heck. Okay, let's talk about El Cholo for a second.
Shall we? Okay, tell me.
Yeah, I
Tell-
was going to talk about cafes, but so El Cholo has several outfits in the LA area.
Locations.
Thank you. The one that I used to go to is on kind of in the outer part of Wilshire on Santa Monica. We loved El Cholo back in the day when I lived in LA.
There's one in Anaheim now. I didn't realize. There's one in Salt Lake City.
There is, yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
But the original one is on Western, just off of Olympic. And it is just, so it's like very old school Mexican restaurant. And you go in there and it doesn't matter what time of day, there aren't any windows. So it's just like, it's dark and sort of white tablecloths, but like not fancy, but still they're trying to kind of, give you
Class it
that vibe.
up.
Food's great. Fajitas, excellent. I love that place.
The picture of it from the 20s says Spanish food.
Which apparently, because I've looked into this as well, apparently, at the time, as, some families were starting to, make their way into the food industry, Spanish food was kind of how you described Mexican food.
Mexican food.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how people describe any Spanish-speaking person in the Northeast. It's like, oh, they're Spanish. Like when people used to say that, it's like, oh, you mean they're Hispanic, but they're like, or Latino, but it was just a term.
So the original spot is the house, and then a couple other others, like the Santa Monica one's kind of smaller. The one in downtown's kind of house-ish. Even the Anaheim one looks like an old Taco Bell that maybe they took over. And then the one in Salt Lake City is like a 2-story plate glass windows, neon sign.
Very different. Yeah.
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 I was
We'll have to
reading
ask
something
Scott
about
Johnson
that.
to go there and report back because I mean, listen, I have to imagine any franchise, you're just going to get a different version of fajitas depending on, the kitchen setup.
I'm
and
sure
who's
they
working in
tailor
the
it
kitchen
to the
type
taste
thing.
of the area. Like, what's interesting about the one in Salt Lake City, that restaurant design is becoming more popular. And I was reading something about it. It's like why like KFC's, McDonald's tend to look a little less like they used to, like very iconic with a lot of the accents, is because when it comes to real estate, it's easier to sell a restaurant that's that space that looks a little more generic.
That hasn't been customized as much.
Because like who wants to have the golden arches when you're doing
because then you just have to spend money tearing all that stuff down.
Exactly.
Like the old Pizza Huts that went out of business.
When you turn it into your marijuana store, you don't want the McDonald's.
It's the golden something else.
Everything's a dispensary. Every time something closes, a dispensary opens in LA. That's just the way of the world.
Is that like Angel gets its wings, but
A dispensary opens.
I suppose from a certain point
I mean,
of
you
view.
can
someone opens a window to a dispensary.
I want to eat at El Cholo now. You got me hungry.
Oh my gosh, it's so fun. We should go to the one on Western. It is fun. I mean, I don't know. You could be like, this is weird. And it would be, kind of. But also
No,
fun.
it reminds me of a bunch of places I used to go in Austin that were from that same era and had that same, like, it's not really a fancy restaurant, but they've got, cloth tablecloths and the waiters wear, nice clothes and
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
yeah. There's a whole kind of, they're trying to invoke a different era.
Carnitas
But the food
lunch.
is good. The
Oh,
food
Well, in El
margaritas.
Cholo's case, in the original location, they're just continuing to do what they've always done, I guess.
Yeah, they're
right?
like, we've been here since
Yeah,
1923.
we're not evoking anything. This is just
Hey,
the way we always did it.
These margaritas actually look really tasty. The LA
Yeah.
Lemonade, Zapata's Widow. Fruit
See,
margarita,
I like-
that feels like a hangover.
Casa Vega is my favorite in this genre, but Casa Vega's almost a little upscale compared to El Cholo, I think.
What was the one out in San Francisco out in the Western Edition? The one all the way
Western
off at the end of
Oh,
Gary?
Western
Oh, I know what you're
Edition?
talking about.
Diablo? Not
Tony's.
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 Tommy's.
2-minute warning. 2
Tommy's.
minutes.
It was just
Tommy's
like
Joint?
out there over by...
No, not Tommy's Joint. That was on Van Ness. It was Tommy's, I don't know, taqueria or whatever.
Yeah. They had good margaritas there.
Really weird memory of Tommy's.
It's really- it's like right
I
across
went there
the
a lot in college. It's right across the street from the
From Trader Sam's.
Yes, Trader
Yeah.
Sam's.
Right.
Yes. Okay. So
With
yeah,
the-
you and I remember the Richmond. But I was at Tommy's one night, and they had like, it was like not really a
Scorpion
sports bar, but they
Yes.
had like, the Scorpion Bowls. Ooh, bad news. Talk about a headache.
I took an intern there once. Bad idea.
At Tommy's, they had like TVs sort of in the corners, but it wasn't like the TVs were on really. It was like they just were sort of there.
But they-
I don't
but
know.
it felt like
fine.
home-
But so one night I was there, and we're all kind of eating our food and drinking our margaritas, and all of a sudden we're looking at the TVs, and Princess Diana had died.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah, like, and it's
fixed
sort of
moment
like,
in time.
but
Yeah.
like, and the sound wasn't on the TVs, and we're all kind of looking at it like, what is
Yeah.
going on here? It's like, who even knows what? It was like, I don't even think it was CNN. It was just like something.
Where
And
were you when you learned?
It
Princess
was.
Diana?
I always remember that because it was just we all sort of left like, well, that was weird.
I was in my apartment in Austin when I learned. So I don't really have like a vivid memory because I was just like in a place that I was every day,
Sure, but you
Yeah,
still
that's
remember
a,
it.
That's a much better memory. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that great of a memory.
Not a
but-
good memory, but it's like
it's
a
just-
much
I always remember that.
richer story, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, I always like it's just one of those like, where were you? I was like, I know exactly where I was. I was at Tommy's eating a burrito.
Now, see, when OJ had his Bronco chase, I remember where I was more vividly because I was in that same apartment, but we had moved out. So there
I
was
thought you were
nothing.
gonna say I was in the Bronco.
There was nothing. I was in the back seat.
Yeah, like just no one
Have
knew.
a good show, everybody.
Good day, Internet. This is DTNS Live for Tuesday, August 12th, 2025. From Studio Animal House, I'm Sarah Lane.
From Studio 7 in Los Angeles, I'm Tom Merritt.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
DTNS Live is made possible by you. Thanks to everybody who supports us on Patreon, including Kevin Morgan, Paul Thiessen, Ali Sanjabi, and our brand new extra special thanks to John Murray III.
John Murray the Third.
John Murray III,
Say hi to your grandpa for us.
indeed. Please.
And thank you for being a patron. Welcome, one and all, to DTNS Live. This is the show where we discuss the tech news to help us all understand it a little bit better. Roger Chang, how you doing today?
I'm doing all right. It's a little cooler today. I'm actually very grateful. I know we always talk about the weather, but when the summer happens in the Central Valley in California,
It's hard not to.
yeah,
it's
it
hard
gets
not
very
to.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's hard to be like, what
Tell
else
us what
do I
you
care
dreamt about last night, too.
What did I dream about?
I had some weird dreams last night.
Yeah.
What'd you have
we
for
don't even have to
lunch?
get into that.
I should probably tell this to a therapist rather than our audience.
Weather,
some ways,
what
those
did you
are not
dream
different,
about?
Roger.
What did you eat?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I care about all those things, but we get it. We get it, people.
please send us an email, feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com, if you would like to know any of those from any of us. You know, do you want to know how our weather is, what we ate for lunch, or what we dreamt last night? And we will respond to you directly.
Tom Merritt, would Seven the dog like to go to El Cholo, the restaurant?
Seven the dog would love to go to any restaurant, frankly. He would be like, what is this? It smells great in here. Can I jump up on everyone? Can I have a chip? Can I have more than one? So, yeah, I don't know that El Cholo would make a difference to him, but he'd be into it. Yeah.
Yeah. It smells like food in here. I am happy.
He is slowing down in his old age of 14 months to the point where like he can't just go nonstop all the time. So there's hope for us now as he starts to get in the waning months of his puppyhood.
Settle into Well, and you know, depending on the dog, you know, some dog breeds they say, oh, they don't slow down till like age 5.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
Go, oh, crap.
That was Sawyer, our border collie. I think he was 7 years old when we finally were like, yeah, I don't think there's any puppy left in you. I think you're finally like fully adult.
Time to get a job.
Yeah. Maybe at a restaurant. Call
he wanted to be a film director though, so you know.
Right. Yeah, chew hard, the whole thing. Yeah, well, you know, little coddling by his parents, but you know what? That's neither here nor there. We all do it. We hope you're all doing good out there. Just a reminder, if you're watching or listening live to us right now, you can name this episode. Head on over to dtns.showbot.tv, submit titles, and vote on them throughout the show. We'll be talking about all sorts of stuff, and then we'll check back in on the votes at the end of the show and crown a winner. All right, let's kick it off with a few stories that caught our eye today.
Australia's federal court ruled Tuesday that Apple and Google's app marketplaces engaged in anti-competitive behavior by prohibiting outside payment systems in their app stores. That decision is 2,000 pages long and will not be released publicly. So the details right now are a little scarce. However, Epic has read the decision, or at least parts of it, and says it will return Fortnite and other apps to the Google and Apple app stores. However, it did not give a date on when that would happen yet. In Australia. It's already in the App Store in the US and elsewhere, but it will return to Australia.
Apple and Epic sort of getting along?
I mean, we had a court case in the US, we have the law in the EU, and then a court case around law. We have other laws in Japan and Korea that have affected this. So basically, Epic leading the charge to open up the app stores, both Google and Apple around the world.
Yeah. Which is good from my perspective.
Yeah. Well, for a lot of people who use a variety of platforms, the fact that they're playing nice is a good thing.
Well, I don't know if they're playing nice. Yeah. They're being forced by a federal court to open up. But yeah, I guess they are playing nice
on the surface.
They're being congenial.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
They're being
by force.
Court ordered to be congenial.
Yes. That's how all of my best friends got made.
Yeah.
We were just forced.
I think that's true of all of us. Yeah.
Yeah. And then we were like, you know what? You're not so bad after all.
You two are besties.
The Wall Street Journal sources say that Perplexity is making a $34.5 billion all-cash bid to buy Google Chrome. That's despite Chrome not being for sale, and the offer exceeding Perplexity's own valuation by nearly double. So this is a real long shot of long shots. If this were to somehow happen, though, Perplexity pledges to keep Chromium open source, retain Chrome's default search engine, and invest $3 billion over 2 years into furthering the product. Google's ongoing antitrust trial has remedies expected this month and could actually factor into this somehow. But again, long shot.
Yeah, Jason and I went into detail on this on briefing if you want to really get into it. But the short version is, like Sarah said, later this month, the remedies in the search text advertising, because there's 2 antitrust cases. One is about Google Ad Manager. The one in the search text advertising is expected by the end of this month. And the Department of Justice asked for the judge to consider forcing Google to sell Chrome. So this is Perplexity jumping the line. Like, if the judge says, yes, we got investors ready. We sign on the dotted line. Here you go. You got an offer ready to go.
Just the amount of I'm always amazed at the amount of money, right? Because like 1% of that is still 350 million.
Yeah, that's why the dollar amounts are kind of ridiculous because that always sounds big to me. But that is kind of right in the middle of the range of what people believe Chrome would be worth as an independent entity. So, They could probably get outbid, I guess. But
Well, speaking of outbidding, Wikipedia lost its legal challenge against the UK's Online Safety Act, specifically the rules covering which sites are classed Category 1 under the Online Safety Act. Now, the strictest level, and the one that Wikipedia would be designated or could be designated under, was causing a number of privacy issues that Wikipedia was highlighting. Now, Britain's High Court rejected Wikipedia's argument, but they left the judgment open to possibilities for future legal challenges, and that regulators, because of this judgment, were not given, quote, a green light on implementing rules that would significantly impede Wikipedia's operations.
yeah, the thing here is that Ofcom could categorize Wikipedia as a social network, in which case it would have to verify identities of everyone who contributed to Wikipedia. And Wikimedia was trying to get the court to say, don't do that. And the court said, well, they haven't yet. So why don't you wait and see what Ofcom does? And then if they categorize you wrong, you can come back and maybe you can sue and succeed that time.
Would either of you call Wikipedia a social network?
No, I
I
wouldn't.
wouldn't either.
Not in the sense that
I mean, there's
I
some.
understand social media.
I mean, I guess there. If you're a moderate, there are social implications, I guess, but that is just not a social network.
I think there's any time people can leave any sort of comment or a comment on a process, whether it's a YouTube video or if you're like a Wikipedia editor, you leave comments about changes that other editors have made. People just take that to mean social media because you're socializing, but I don't.
Well, because you can basically talk back and forth to someone else.
Back.
It reminds me of the early days of blogging, right? Where there were depending on what blog engine you were using, the comments were a really big part of anything that you posted. That was social media before social media. And then there were lots of third-party companies that, you could use, to kind of, I don't know, filter through those comments, make them more dynamic, et cetera, et cetera. So that did feel very social. But I don't know, Wikipedia is...
Yeah, and I don't think you would call a blog very social now because the comments are not the star of the show. And I think that's what Wikipedia is arguing is like, yeah, we have a place for authors to talk to each other about the edits, but that's not the product. The product is pages of information, and that's not a social network. And again, the court was like, yeah, you jumped the gun. Like, we're not going to get involved until they categorize you. And I guess Ofcom is less likely to categorize them as a social network now because they know that the court is sort of giving a signal that says, if they were to categorize you that way, come back. You might have a case.
Mm-hmm. Well, those are top 3 stories that caught our eye today. But wait, there's more. Google is rolling out something it's calling preferred sources in its own search. That lets users select news outlets that they want featured most in their top stories section, plus a new From Your Sources section. Google tested the feature back in June. Obviously thought that it should be rolled out more fully, and is now available in the US and India with no limit on how many sources can be added. So you can kind of make it your own. That's the whole idea. It's also a search update that is unrelated to AI, at least at this point. And I think Google likes it that way because Google has gotten quite a bit of pushback from folks saying, wait a second, you're changing everything about Google search with all these AI results. This would... if it works as advertised, put the control back into the hands of someone like me saying, all right, I'm searching for this news topic, and here are the 10 sources I would like to see this most from. It does not sound unlike a good RSS reader to me, honestly.
Yeah, it's a little different because with an RSS reader, you're just getting those results. This is saying... Yeah. Give preference to these results, but it'll fill in with other things if there's nothing there, which arguably is just a different way of doing it. I went into Google Labs and turned this on because I wasn't getting it naturally. Again, I searched for the Perplexity story, right? And I got the AI overview, then I got the Reuters story, then I got that top stories section. And that's where I got this little thing where I can click on it. And I'm like, okay, give me a preference for Ars Technica, Bloomberg, CNBC, Engadget, Technology Review, Wall Street Journal, and Yahoo Finance. Who am I missing? Let's add one. What's another one to add?
BBC.
BBC. Excellent. BBC. Then you check it, and then you reload the results. And now I've got no, you can't see my location. Yeah, I didn't get the BBC, but it's still stories from those particular places, right? So Yahoo Finance, Wall Street Journal, CNBC. If I go to more news, then I get the New York Times. Then I get TechCrunch, which TechCrunch would probably be a good one to add to that too. So it's not limiting it, but it is like saying, well, we'll show those first.
It's
if they
giving
have
some
something
priority,
about it. Yeah.
to stuff that you want to see anyway. Which for news gatherers like ourselves, I think this is great. Your mileage may vary, obviously. And for anyone who's like, all right, well, so Tom, it's working for him. I haven't figured out how to turn it on yet, even though I am in Google Labs. So I was just sort of waiting for it to come to my own Google search. But Google says you search for a topic, it's in the news, you click on that icon to the right of top stories. So clear as day. Depending on, if you've got the feature, it is clear as day. Then, you select your preferred sources. You refresh those results, just like Tom did. Google says, if you have signed up for Google Labs, those selections will automatically apply. You can continue to see more of those sites within top stories. And I thought this was interesting from Google's own blog. It said verbatim, publishers can encourage their followers and subscribers to select their website as a preferred source on Google by using resources found in this dedicated help center. So I think this very much is Google saying, listen, we are getting a lot of pushback, from not only publishing outlets, but also, people who have just searched a certain way for a long time and feel like things are getting weird, and I'm starting to get stuff that surfaced to the top that I never wanted in the first place. So it is a way to gain more control. You might bury stuff that maybe you actually wanted to see and didn't know, but I think this is overall a good thing.
Yeah, and I think that's always the concern. I think Willie Scott even said it in the chat. The concern might be unintentionally reinforcing an echo chamber. But that's balanced out by you'll also not get crappy news, right? Like, I think we always say that when we're thinking of other people, like those other people, they'll pick bad sources and then they'll be stuck in an echo chamber. But if it was us, we'd be like, oh, but if I use it, then it will be used for good. And honestly, I think most people would probably use it to pick sources that are worthwhile. That's all we had for the longest time was picking our own sources. So I think the good probably outweighs the bad. I also think not many people are going to bother to go do this, even if publishers are trying to encourage them to. It's a lot of work for people, and people don't really want to put that much work into reading stuff. They just want it to show up.
Yeah.
It is it is interesting because one of the things about not a lot of people, but I used to hear about people criticizing, like, well, how do they select the news? Is it just what they consider to be the news? It's just like, now you can pick what you want to, and see what surfaces. I don't know. These are all like changes.
Well, who's they? It's like
Google, I guess, in this case.
The original source of the news, they're going to...
Oh, no, not the ownership, but like when you do a search and you hit the news tab, like, oh, how does
Google decide what shows
exactly?
Up there? Yeah.
Right.
And there was a...
Well, I think it's also, a lot of it is just weighted upon, how much of this is interest to lots of other people. And so you get a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of times that means you get crap float to the top because it's clickbait, and the signal is a lot of people clicked on it because it was clickbait. That doesn't mean it's good. And so if you can go and overrule that, I think that's a good thing, especially because this will also not rule out other sources that Google also thinks is good given its weighting. And so it'll fill in other things that will be outside your bubble sometimes.
And I know that we all just, again, because for the purposes of DTNS, we're just constantly looking, at news, tech news specifically, but just news in general. News.google.com, I hit that, 15 times a day.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's a very specific place. And that's also, I can favorite certain sources. That's kind of its own entity. This is straight up search. You are searching for something, and when you search for that thing, and you're just kind of like, I'm starting from, step one. This would whittle down the search results that you get based on what you want to get.
Yeah, I like this because I do search for news. Like you say, I go to Google News a lot too, and I go to Tech Meme a lot, and I go to our own subreddit a lot. But I do search for stuff because I want to see, like, wait a minute, what about this? When did this happen? What is Bloomberg saying about this? And having the ability to say, can you give me these sources first? Don't block the other sources, but these are the ones that I trust. These are the ones I think do the best job.
Sure. Yeah. And there are many times, like Bloomberg, for example, where it's like, okay, they broke the story, but like, who else is talking about it?
Yeah.
And
No,
that,
absolutely.
that's a very, very important context for a lot of, conversations that we all have, whether it's on the show or outside of the show.
The Perplexity story is a great example of that. Wall Street Journal broke the story this morning, and that was where I saw it first. And they did a great job. It was a very good write-up. But then Bloomberg followed up, and they had their own sources on it. And they were the ones that added the $3 billion, like, we'll make sure to, what was it, $3 billion something that you mentioned, $3 billion over 2 years invested in it. That came
Right.
from Bloomberg, right? So
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I'm getting a more complete picture by seeing multiple sources.
Indeed. Oh, sorry. That would be me. I don't know what day it is, everyone. It is Tuesday, August 12th, and my name is Sarah Lane, and I'm back in the picture. Okay, so Tom, if you don't want to pay for a month of service just to watch, I don't know, one college football game or something like that, Sling TV may have an idea you would like.
Yeah, Sling TV is going to sell access in small chunks. So you can buy a day pass, which gives you 24 hours of access. You can pay for a weekend. You just get the, I don't know if it includes Friday, actually. I didn't check on that, but just get the weekend, or a week, 7 days. If you just need to watch the game or maybe the weekend's games, this is a great option. The selection is a little weird. Sling has this long history of having broken its offering into orange and blue. The bulk of the orange and blue plans are the same, but there is a subset that is different. The orange plan has ESPN and a few other Disney networks like the Disney Channel that aren't in the blue plan. The blue plan has Fox stuff, Fox Sports, etc., that are not in the orange plan. The day pass, the weekend pass, the week-long pass, they only apply to the orange plan, the one with ESPN. So you won't get the Fox stuff in there. You also don't get CBS because Sling TV just doesn't have an agreement with CBS. But you will get NBC, you would get ABC, you would get ESPN. Again, $5 for the day, $10 for the weekend, and $15 for a week-long pass, compared to $46, which is what you would pay for the orange plan on a monthly basis. And if there's something in one of those special add-on packs that Sling has, they like have extra sports networks in an add-on pack. They have a news pack, they have a kids pack, entertainment pack. You can buy a day pass to the pack for $1, $2 for the weekend, or $3 for the week long. I don't know how many people are going to take advantage of this because it's a little confusing the way Sling does it, but I love the idea of saying like, hey, I just want to watch the game and it's on this channel that I don't get, and I don't want to have to buy a whole monthly $46 plan or pay for Peacock to get it. Can I just buy a day pass? And then Sling's like, yeah, you can. $5. Here it is.
Yeah, I mean, so this on its surface, this reminds me of the olden days where, well, none of us had cable, but, somebody would have HBO at their house and there'd be like, the big fight, and we'd all chip in and buy it on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, wow, you have to pay for it. And, that was seemed like a lot of money when you're, 10 or whatever. But that feels like this, where if and Sling TV, as you were talking about it, Tom, it's like this actually does sound kind of complicated. But if the offerings are pretty cut and dry, let's say, you go to Sling TV's website and it's sort of like, here are all the games today. Do you want this game? Do you want
you
this
could make
game?
it easier. Oh, the
Yeah,
game's
it's
not
like-
there. I guess I can't get it. But yeah.
Yeah, or like, oh, you know what? There's like a few games that would, make the weekly pass sound pretty good. Or maybe like, we're just like in an era of, whatever sport I'm into that, we'll go ahead with, for the month type thing. This is great. I wish more offerings were like this, because I think a lot of people, myself included, They really just want to see the one game. I don't really care. Talking about the NFL, for example, I like football. I like the NFL. I don't care about a lot of games.
You don't need to buy the whole NFL
Yep.
Sunday ticket, right?
No, I just wouldn't do it. I mean, if someone
Yeah.
else has it, great, I'll watch the games.
Yeah, sure.
But I really only care about the 49ers, and then I care much less if they're bad that season. So I just, a game or two actually works for me. And someone's going to get more money out of me by feeling that way rather than just saying, I just give up.
Well, they would get more per game from you than if you had an entire season. You had all the games available, right? It's just I find it interesting that Sling TV, this is what they're hoping people will glom onto as part of Sling TV. I can just buy I can buy a day, I can buy a weekend. And if you're one of those people that, travels a lot for work and where you're at is in a very temporary space, why would you blow a lot of money on an entire subscription when you can just get what you really need, like a championship game or perhaps a match between two historic rivals that you really want to see, like an Army-Navy football game or something like that. I don't know. I'm with you, Sarah. I wish this would carry over to non-sports content as well. Well,
it does. I mean, I was going to bring that up. This is not for sports specifically. This is a day pass to Sling's entire orange plan. So if you're like, oh, I don't have a service, but I'm in a hotel for the weekend with the kids, and during the evening I want to be able to, or maybe it's an Airbnb and it doesn't have cable. I'm trying to, come up with a metaphor here. But yeah, you could buy it for that. You could buy it for an awards show. If you're like, I want to watch the Oscars, but I don't have ABC and I don't want to pay, to get a whole cable system, you could just get a day pass, $5, and get ABC and watch the Oscars.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I think...
By the way, weekend pass does include Friday.
Nice.
Oh, that's nice of them. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah, that's...
Yeah.
Friday night, I consider the weekend. Anything after 5 p.m.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So you get all of Friday, Saturday, Sunday with the weekend.
That is definitely a weekend. Yeah, no, I think this is a great idea. I've never used Sling TV, and I know it's been around for a while, and it was very beloved by certain folks, especially some time ago. But the idea of just saying you want to bop in, do a little something, and then bop out, because right now, okay, so. For example, on pretty much every streaming service I have, I pay monthly. So it's easy for me to just cancel and then just resubscribe whenever I'm ready. I do it all the time. But you're still paying for the month. You never get that, do you want just a day or just a weekend? It's you pay for the month and then you have to remember to unsubscribe before, they charge you for the next month in perpetuity. Yeah. So this is a cool option. I can think of lots of scenarios where this actually would matter to me. It's I just want to watch that one thing. I don't want to do all this other stuff. And you do get that, that whole catalog. You're not buying one, football game or one award show. You're buying access for a day. So that can help.
I just came up with another use of this because I saw AMC and BBC America are on here. What if you've been just watching day later streams or even buying episodes of a show, but the finale's coming up and you're like, I want to watch it when it airs. I don't want to wait for it to show up on my streaming service. You could do a day pass and then watch the finale on A&E, AMC, BBC America, etc.
And that would be on demand for you during the 24 hours or, however many hours that you bought it for.
Sure, that too.
I talking about a finale, I remember being in New York City in a hotel when the Lost finale was airing. Now, I didn't watch Lost, but the person that I was hanging out with at the time was this is a very big deal to me. And, so we were sort of glued to the TV in the hotel room, which had ABC, right? At the network that Lost was on. But it was we had to watch it right then and there. Did not matter. Nothing else mattered. And if we just had a little more leniency, you know, maybe we could have had dinner and then come back and watch Lost later.
But I mean, that's must-see TV. Well, actually, no, that wasn't must-see TV. But it was appointment
That was
viewing.
ABC. Yeah. No, and that's my point. Is like you could just pick this. Unfortunately, it's the orange plan. The blue plan has so much more. The blue plan has all of NBC's like cable networks like USA and MSNBC and CNBC. Those are not on the orange plan. It also has all the Fox networks. You do get the NBC broadcast channel in most markets, but you need to look in that. I don't know. I wonder how they were able to make this work with the orange plan and not the blue plan. Disney had to sign off on it, right, for them to be able to do it.
Yeah.
I guess Fox and NBC didn't.
I mean, I would assume that something, you know, an entity like Disney would look at this and say, yeah, I mean, we're probably just going to get more interest in our stuff.
You get a
You're
fraction.
only giving access for a day or so.
You get a fraction of the money, though. The way cable works is like I get paid per subscriber for each channel you carry from me. So Disney Channel, I get a few bucks. ESPN, I get a few more bucks. And so if you're only selling a day pass, that you're as the channel carrier, you want them to sell monthlies, right? Because you want the full dollar amount, not a fraction of it. So they had to agree to be like, okay, that's fine. We'll just take a fraction of it because it's all going away anyway.
Yeah. A fraction is better than zero.
Yeah.
Don't I know that?
Mm-hmm.
Fractions.
Well, folks, if you want to join in the conversation about fractions on our Discord, we could talk about decimals as well. It's not all fractions there. Just link your Patreon account. Become a patron at patreon.com/DTNS.
Well, most of us have worked at a restaurant or a cafe at some point, and when I say that, I mean we have gone to a cafe or a restaurant at some point and taken out, laptop, tablet, phone, and done some work there. Maybe even sat there for a few hours. The big advantage is, sometimes you get free coffee refills. Maybe you get a lunch special, free Wi-Fi, big draw. So Roger, tell us about where Starbucks says, not on our watch.
This far, no further.
No. So last Thursday, Starbucks Korea implemented a ban on customers bringing in desktop PCs, desk partitions, printers, monitors, power strips to their coffee stores, and notices have been posted in all the branches across the country. The policy shift targets a small but growing segment in Korean society known as the Kagonggok, a portmanteau of the Korean words for cafe, study, and tribe. And these are groups of people often study and work for hours at the cafe. Now, although most only use their laptops like most of us would, others have been seen and documented bringing in a full desktop monitor, a full desktop printer, and a full desktop PC, as well as dividers, like the little partitions you would see in a cubicle.
You made your own cube at a Starbucks. That's what you did.
And it's a very fascinating kind of development, but I was thinking, like, at what point do you say, like, you can, like, let's take that all the way when you're just sitting on your laptop. How long as a proprietor should I let you sit there? Just maybe buying
an hour and 42 minutes, at least according to one of the people quoted in this Korea Times article. Like, they did the math, and they're like, if you buy one drink after an hour and 42 minutes, you're costing us money. Buddy.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
yeah.
This is at first when I saw there's some photos from the Korea Herald, showing somebody with literally a partition, and a desktop monitor, and there's a printer and a power strip and everything, and it's just like the idea of someone doing that is so ridiculous to me. But I pulled some folks this morning because a lot of people I know do a lot of traveling, and they do end up not necessarily just cafes, but like Soho House type stuff, where they're constantly moving around, but needing to work.
Not the San Vicente bungalows.
Well, that would be another example. But it's like, no, people do that sometimes, and it's like everyone else is just like, what are you doing? But you are basically creating a home office away from home. Now, and if you can get away with it, that's great. But I cannot imagine even Starbucks, which has been pretty lenient, I think, for the most part. It's like, yeah, you get some free Wi-Fi. It's not going to be the best, but, you can kind of sit there all day. But not if you're bringing in your whole home office with a printer.
There is...
And not buying food every hour.
There's a
a couple of things there. First of all, I think, the person who brought the divider and somebody got a picture of that's making the news. I don't get the sense that that's common. And having been to Seoul within the past year, I got to say, I didn't go into a whole lot of Starbucks, but I never saw this. So I'm not sure even like how common it is, but it obviously is happening, or they wouldn't have to put up a policy about it. And in Seoul, particularly, like many dense cities, people don't have very big apartments, right? Mm-hmm. So you go out to do work a lot. You don't stay. In fact, you go out to meet people and hang out. You don't have them over to your house. So a lot of these cafes have policies of like, you have to buy a drink and sometimes even food as well if you're going to be here. Like, you can't just, some of them even are like, you can't just buy food. You have to buy a drink and food. Like, we're trying to make money off of you. You can't just, surf along on it.
I remember one of my absolute favorite cafes ever back in San Francisco. Shout out to you, Sight Glass Coffee. They were notoriously anti-Wi-Fi, and it was a large space. I mean, a lot of people could go in there and sit. You could sit all day. They weren't.
Was it one of the Twitter founders, like a founder of Sight Glass too, or something?
Jack Dorsey.
Yeah, it was Dorsey. Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they had a few different locations at one point, but this first one that just happened to be really near where I lived, it was large. No one was mad at you if you sat there all day. But they were like, you're not just like going to sit here and work all day. That's not what this cafe is about. This cafe is about drinking very good coffee and having a ginger scone and talking to, your neighbor, whatever. But by doing that, just because they knew that you're not going to sit there all day unless you're, working. I mean, sure, you could, at this point, it's like, we're probably talking 3G service at this point. But it would help with turnover. It was just like, you're welcome here, but if you're going to bring your laptop, you got to connect somehow on your own. And then you're going to run out of batteries and you're going to leave. And it seemed to work out pretty well.
I think this is fascinating because it's funny, people bringing in desktops and all of that, but I don't think it's unusual. I mean, we've had stories in the past. I found an LAist article from 2016 that showed somebody bringing their whole editing suite into a cafe, and I swear during the Buzz Out Loud days we talked about somebody bringing an iMac into a Starbucks in New York City. I couldn't find that article when I was looking around for it, so I feel like this is the kind of story that pops up every once in a while. I guess what makes this different is that the Starbucks subsidiary in Korea, which I think is an independent company from Starbucks, they just licensed the name and the recipes, but they decided to make a countrywide policy, so the signs went up everywhere.
I mean, and that's the thing. Like, people will get comfortable in a space until you tell them that don't get too comfortable and you should probably leave. Right? Like, it's just human nature.
There was a place in Austin called Les Amis Cafe that was run by a French guy, and he was trying to recreate French cafe culture to the point that they not only didn't care how long you stayed there, the longer you stayed, the nicer they were to you. They didn't like people who just came in, ate, and left. They wanted people to kind of live there and hang out. It was just sort of the exact opposite of what we're talking about.
Total cultural divide going on there. I mean, that's, one of the most fun things about France is that, if you're like in a hurry for lunch, they're like, what is your problem? Where are you running off to?
But again, nobody was bringing in laptops because laptops were very expensive back in the 90s. And so that there wasn't that part of it where people are just sitting there doing work like they do now.
Well, it changes the vibe, right? It's like we've all gone into a cafe where it's like, oh, everybody's kind of working. Like, cool. All right. Because I want to do that too. I'm going to, get a table and just kind of do my thing. And I don't think I've ever had anyone... I've definitely used free Wi-Fi at a cafe that had an expiration point, right? Where it was like, okay, your hour's up And you could like re-up it, but at that point it was like, I should go. I've been here for a while type thing. But imagine at, a non-cafe situation where, if you're having like a fun birthday dinner with people at a restaurant, probably you're not bringing your laptops, right? But you definitely do. And depending on the place, of course, it's all different. But you do get those places that, they're busy and, they're kind of like, well, hope you had a nice meal. And
can I get you anything else? Here's the check. No rush.
Yeah. And if
but
people
really,
are sort of
rush.
like, oh, yeah, well, we'll get to it. And then, the next time they come, they're like, well, the next party is like waiting for your table. So.
I mean, there was a whole kind of etiquette thing. Like if you're in college, I wasn't using a laptop, but I had like a spiral bound notebook and like doing homework.
A notebook computer.
Yes. A notebook with a pen and pencil.
Kids ask your parents.
But like at some point you kind of figured when
fancy.
you've worn out your welcome, like, the place is getting packed. They need seats. They need open spaces, and you've drank your fourth, free refill of whatever, and you already finished the muffin that you bought. Like, gosh, I should go. I don't know if it's
there's a reading the room thing that I think is obvious depending on where you are, and then there are other places where it's like, some Starbucks in Seoul, and they're like, you know what, these partitions, and the guy with the printer, and I mean, he's plugged so many things into that outlet.
I'm gonna be so disappointed the next time I visit Seoul and I walk into a Starbucks and no one has a printer, no one has a desktop. Like, it's changed. Yeah, I remember when you used to be able to bring in your 34-inch curved monitor at a Starbucks.
My whole office came in my backpack. Now, what do I have? Nothing. Just a foldable.
What are we even doing?
Wasn't there a time where it was kind of cool to be seen working at a cafe, that you were so sophisticated and
maybe with a laptop? Yeah,
but it's a cultural thing.
I mean, car phones also used to be really cool.
Oh yeah, I had a phone.
Like,
I love the old car phones in the '80s where they were like the old handset, like a dial-up.
But I mean,
sitting on the dash.
But still, it's like if someone had that, you were like, "Wow, are you a drug dealer?"
It was always in a limo, and it was like an executive or something.
When I first moved down to LA, I remember a couple of the cafes near. When I say near, within like a 5 or 6 minute drive.
You can just say near. I think everybody gets it.
But there were definitely people at that cafes, and they were like working. They were they were talking about work related stuff, whether they were talking about like production work or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was a very congenial atmosphere, and everyone was like, "Yeah, this is what we're supposed to do." But,
Nick with a C points out that pagers, on the other hand, were for drug dealers.
Oh yes, that was the stereotype. You have a pager?
It was a stereotype. Not everybody was. Some people were, but many people weren't. I mean,
many nice people.
I didn't
had
really,
pagers.
even in high school, like friends. Some friends of mine had pagers, and it was like, what? I'm like, what? All they really did was like, a friend would be like, call me, and then you call them.
Oh yeah, you use the short codes
on a payphone.
Yeah.
Like the pager didn't really do much. It was sort of just like, it was like tapping you on the shoulder, like, call me.
Yeah,
Saray points out that not all drug dealers are illegal. Some of them were pharmacists.
That is true. Also true to this day. Very good point, Saray. All right, Tom. So yesterday we were talking about the idea of, old media, digitizing videotapes. We've all got probably a few of those in a box in a closet in our house somewhere where we're like, we're going to have to get to that eventually. But does it make sense to go the other route and make your digital video look more like a VHS tape?
Yeah, this doesn't actually change the quality of the video so much as give you the experience. It's an app called Cassette for iOS from Devin Davies that virtually loads a tape into a TV VCR. The idea was that they were missing the days when you would put a VHS cassette in and watch all your family home movies, right? They'd all be on that one tape because that's what you put in the camera when you recorded, and you didn't have to select them. Now when you go to your camera roll, it's like, I have videos in here somewhere. I forgot to put them in a folder or an album or anything. So they created Cassette, which recreates the VCR experience for you by showing you a TV VCR in the app. And then it gets access to your camera roll if you give it access, and it will collect all of your videos by year. So you can just go in and say, hey, give me everything from 2009. It virtually puts a videotape in the machine and then starts playing them randomly. So there's Eileen at Bartholomew Park in Sonoma. You can fast forward. You can skip to the next one. Oh, more Sonoma stuff here from July. And you see it gives you the VCR style timestamp with the date and all of that. That's when I put Snow Leopard on a ThinkPad back before you could, you had Intel. It's Snow Leopard T sitting on a ThinkPad. Get it? No. Okay.
So yeah, I know. I
Look,
get it.
there's me somebody in Emeryville using a brand new iPhone in 2009. Anyway.
I mean someone in Emeryville. So I downloaded cassette because I knew we were going to talk about it, and it was a little unintuitive to me at first because downloading it was easy enough, but I was kind of like, all right, let me just like click on a video, and then it was like, all right, $7.99 for Cassette Color Plus, because the whole idea is that you don't go to direct video. Because really, the video that you end up seeing is just going to get metadata like, here's what time it was taken, here's what day it was taken, here's, if location is available, here's the location it was taken in, which is actually kind of fun, and it looks very retro. But the idea is, like you said,
I just want to watch.
I just want to watch stuff over, the course of a year. And yeah, you can skip through things. But it's right now I'm looking at something from January 14th, 2017, and I'm taking a video of a television, and I don't even know whose TV that is. Next one, Happy Birthday to Lucy. Oh my gosh. See, I don't even remember this video. So this is what's fun about this, is that I think we have so many, well, okay, quiet cassette. So many videos that I have on really just my phone. Well, I guess cassette
is meant for your phone. These are just like, I got videos on my phone, and I don't want to do the work of collating them and putting them into albums. I want it to just pick stuff, because it's not just years. It also picks things, I guess, that I have put into albums, but I'm not sure. Like it says Twitter, Spark Post, Slice, Pixie, Favorites. I guess. Okay, so that's an album. Meta AI. Let's take a look at this one. This one is from my Ray-Ban glasses. So okay, so it's just all the videos from the Ray-Ban glasses. So I guess if you make albums, it makes it easier to access the albums too. But again, it's for somebody who just wants that layback experience and not getting in and
I
doing
got
too much
more out of it
stuff.
than I thought I would, because I thought I was sort of like, whatever. Like, well, at first I thought, it's just going to make everything look really grainy. It actually doesn't do much to the video itself.
No, it doesn't.
It just sort of adds kind of fun context, and then you can save it in that form and, share it with somebody else, like, oh, look at this, that kind of thing. But I thought, this is going to be stupid. But it did remind me of a lot of stuff that I care about, but I didn't do anything with. And it did feel kind of like, this is a home movie.
Be careful though, because it puts exact addresses if it's in the metadata who you're showing this to.
Right.
This is one from CNET, and it's like 235 2nd Street, San Francisco, California.
Yeah,
like,
one of mine
wow,
was very, very, very precise to where I lived at one point. I'm like, I wouldn't. If a friend of mine knew that I lived there, not a problem. But yeah.
These aren't meant for sharing with other people anyway. This is like, the idea is you airplay it to your television and then, sit back and just watch home movies. Mm-hmm. Roger, you have kids, right? I assume you have a bunch of videos of kids on your...
Yes,
kids,
I
right?
do. And it's weird because one of the big shocking things is that unlike VHS tapes, there isn't an age quality to it. So I have video of them back when they were babies, but they look as pristine and sharp as they do when I record them now. And so, VHS adds sort of a time element or kind of a temporal quality to it. I don't know if they would dig it because haven't really used VHS tapes around them.
I don't think it's for them though. I think it's for you.
Yeah,
it's for you and Jen to be like, let's watch 2009.
This reminds me of a project that happened a while back, maybe 10 years ago, called the YouTube channel and project. And all it did was to take YouTube, and they would allow you to watch. They would allow you to watch YouTube as if you were watching on a standard rabbit-eared TV. You can't change the channel, or I mean, you can change the channel, but you can't pick the stuff that you want to watch.
Oh, right. Yeah, I remember talking about this. Now that
and there is a very, it's funny when I first thought that it's like just nostalgia play, but there is something very captivating about not having to manage that aspect, like just letting it run, not touching anything.
Yeah.
Because when you do it that way, you suddenly are free to do a lot of other things because you're not like, well, no.
I mean, granted, you can just go into your photo gallery, choose video, filter by videos and year, and do the same thing, but it doesn't have the fun little, VCR experience around it.
There's a novelty to this. I'm sure at some point people.
House of Films TV points out there is a toggle to turn off precise location setting if you want to. So
that's good to know. Yeah, that makes sense.
So instead of like seeing it on 2nd Street, it would just be in San Francisco or the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Just handy.
Downtown.
Here's me installing Mac OS 10 in 2009. It's fun.
Oh, wow. Riveting stuff. Be kind and rewind that tape.
It was, I'm sure it was very...
If you watch this here, Roger Chang will show up in this in a second. This is at Dragon Con 2009.
Wow.
There's an alien in the background, but there, look.
Oh, there's Roger Chang.
There's me waddling through the shot.
You look exactly the same. Haven't aged a day. It's weird,
Hasn't aged
actually.
a day.
Yeah. Sort of starting to wonder kind of vampire thing you're into. But but that's kind of the fun thing about cassette is that as I was playing around with it, there were these videos where I was just like, they weren't really significant to me at the time. It was not something I was going to, add to Flickr or, later on add to Instagram. It was kind of just like throwaway for me. They weren't like shareable. But now I'm like, moment in time. And those are, I think, at least for me, it's like those photos, those videos that you kind of you just sort of go like, whatever. They're just, who cares? You see them later and it's like, oh my gosh, I remember that day. This wasn't supposed to be some like photo shoot type thing. It was just like, I snapped a picture of Tom under that tree, but I remember that day. And I like stuff like this.
Yeah. No, it's fun. Because you can recreate an entire day by doing this. It's super cool.
Indeed. Well, we would like to recreate all of your memories as well. Not sure exactly how we'll do that, but you could certainly send in some ideas to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. In that vein, let's check out the mailbag.
Jeff K. wrote on Patreon, in the AOL dial-up and 90s nostalgia discussion, I kept waiting to hear about the Eternal September. The Eternal September happened in like late 93, early 94. The September influx on newsgroups was well known before that because it's when all the college students got their accounts at school and then would all log on to newsgroups to see what was up with newsgroups. And there was a huge September influx on newsgroups. And when AOL came along and added newsgroups, suddenly all these AOL people showed up and never stopped showing up because AOL kept adding customers, and it was known as the Eternal September.
September,
Thank you, Jeff K. I guess the Eternal September has finally ended, so we can wake him up now. Billy Joe.
Has it though? Has it? I feel like we're still in Eternal September forever.
If AOL's going away, then that would have to be the end of the Eternal September.
Oh, it's only AOL specific? It's not
it's new. How many people do you know using newsgroups? It was AOL coming into newsgroups. So, I don't know.
I don't know. I mean newsgroups.
That was one of the first.
Those were the days. Yeah. Oh, man. Not that I would ever do this, but great ways to get full albums of music that you didn't buy.
Whatever do you mean, Sarah?
I'm just saying, I heard.
How
people
could
did
you
things
get
like
full
this.
album? Oh, not in the 90s. You're talking about later. I remember trying to download an MP3 in like 1998, and it
this
took
would've been-
hours.
This would have been late 90s. Yeah. So I hear.
I mean, yeah.
You must have just taken all day then, or you had a really fast
No,
connection.
you took a nap, Tom. You took a nap.
You would take all day.
Yeah, okay.
That's what would
That's
happen.
fair.
And then at the end of the day, you're like, okay, bye everyone.
The reward
that was a fun
was
work day.
I had an
Yay.
album. Yeah.
It was,
That is
yeah,
again only hearsay.
You know of people who may have done that.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Eternal September. How we barely knew thee.
We barely knew the month.
Jazz Baston also wrote in Friday's DTNS Live, you all referenced Google Finance almost as if you'd hardly heard of it. I use it every day. In my Chrome bookmark bar, I have a group folder of Google links, one of which is to Google Finance's homepage. Multiple times a day, I go there to check the market and the stocks I follow. Been using it for quite a few years.
Well, now we know who uses it. Chaz Baston is the
Chaz,
person.
we know you're not the only one. And I didn't mean,
Do
when
we
we were
though?
talking about it, I didn't mean to make it seem like nobody uses it. I mean, if you're comparing it to Yahoo Finance, that's something that I hear about quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, because they have stories, they have written stories that show up. Yeah,
they're different products for sure. But yeah, Google's saying, you know what, this is actually a product that we'd like to remind folks has never gone away.
Besides Chaz Baston, who we know uses it every day, we'd like everyone else to remember that it's
Indeed. Remember, you can send in your comments to feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. And of course, if you're a patron, you can comment on anything we post to Patreon directly as well.
During the show, you have been trying to be crowned king of the titles, and you have done an admirable job. We have 25 titles, but only 13 votes. I guess because we talked about crowning someone, people forgot about the democracy part of this, but we need you to vote on the titles as well, dtns.showbot.tv.
Yes.
The winner right now, well, it's a 4-way tie, 3-way tie. No, Saray TW just jumped into the lead. Starbucks called "You Don't Work Here" is the title that Saray suggested.
That's fun.
Clinton Woodward also now tying with "Court-Ordered Congeniality."
Yeah, you
Which is
better
good.
be nice, Epic and Apple, or you're gonna have trouble.
Larry in Atlanta with "A Confusing Way to Watch Sports." Oh, I also like Willie Scott's. Ma'am, this is a Starbucks?
Oh, that's funny.
Google Reader Lite, Starbucks parking meters.
Sling gets a pass.
Sling gets a pass.
Eagle
Daily pass,
Thomason.
weekly pass, weekend pass. Clay Thomason, good stuff. All right, Sarah, what should we go with?
Well, Clay Thomason actually is our winner today, but for Cafe Cubicles.
Cafe Cubicles!
Yeah.
Long live King and/or Queen Clay Thomason!
Yes. You are royalty today, even though, yes, we are a democracy. It's confusing, much like Sling TV. But
It's a
we make it
constitutional
work.
monarchy. Yeah.
Right.
Thank you, everybody, for supporting us in all the various ways. We stream on LinkedIn. We stream on Twitch. We stream on YouTube when we do DTNS Live. And we thank everybody who supports us in all the various ways you can on all of those platforms. Today, Hockey Stick says, resubscribe to our Twitch channel for the 44th month. We also got some bits from Zoe Brings Bacon and PC Milesy, and Sinkayo followed us yesterday. So thanks everybody for supporting us in all the various ways, including patreon.com/DTNS. Next week, heads up, the big experiment week. It's our 4th annual experiment week is happening. If you want to hear the next podcast hit before anyone else, you got to listen to Experiment Week. The Tech John, Behind the Data, Barbecue and Tech, all of them came out of Experiment Week. So this year we have an exclusive Android Faithful reaction to the Pixel event. Roger interviewed Adam Sessler host of GameSpot TV and or Extended Play and or X-Play, depending on what era you listened to or watched it in. And we've got more. Nika Montford's doing a show in there. Jen Cutter's working on a show. Amos interviewed Rich Straffolino and Jenny Josephson about what they're up to. It all starts next Monday, August 18th, right here on the feed. So check it out and just know we've got different shows because we're doing our experiment week next week, and then we'll be back to regular shows the week after.
Speaking of regular shows, you can watch us live Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 2000 UTC. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live. Thanks to everybody who is able to join us live. And for those of you watching or listening after the fact, we love you too. We'll be back tomorrow with Scott Johnson talking about a possible modular PC. For example, a next-gen Xbox. Talk to you then.
The DTNS family of podcasts, helping each other understand.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.